So our work with Swift has focused initially on interoperability. There's two types of interoperability. The first one is getting Swift systems, Swift messages, Swift keys to connect to blockchains through Chainlink. So a Swift message can define what a blockchain transaction should do, what a smart contract should do. It should create an account, it should move a stable coin, it should use that stable coin for delivery versus payment against a tokenized fund. That's the first category of integration and interoperability. The second one is cross-chain, right? So once the Swift message and the Swift private key instruct the blockchain to do something, in many cases they will instruct it to deliver or move something to another chain. So the stablecoin transaction will start on one chain, but the stablecoin will have to go to the other chain where the asset is in exchange for the asset. And then the asset will have to come back to the chain where the stablecoin came from. So that requires cross-chain, in this case, CCIP, the cross-chain interoperability protocol. And so we're providing these two levels of interoperability. Now with Swift's chain, I think there's a third category of things we're doing, which is providing interoperability into that chain. That's interoperability into that chain from other chains. That's interoperability of data into that chain. That's identity into that chain, compliance on that chain. Basically all the many things that Chainlink provides. We've already collaborated with Swift, DTCC, Euroclear, UBS, DBS on a corporate actions product that we launched and released here at the show. And that was very well received. So I think those corporate actions will be on that chain. There will be a lot of different things that a true financial institution grade chain needs, which I think is what Swift's going to build. And all of those things that institution grade chain needs will have to come through Chainlink. Chainlink connectivity to chains, Chainlink connectivity to data. You know, Chainlink is kind of the most reliable system, the one that all the institutions right now see as the leader, because it is the leader in connectivity among institutions, connectivity to institutional data, connectivity to identity and compliance. I think that's a third category of interoperability and value we'll be providing Swift and the Swift ecosystem. So I'm really excited. I think things are really speeding up now. I think Deutsche Börse is choosing to publish data on-chain with Datalink, which is an institutional-grade data Oracle product that can be run and owned by the data source and the institution providing the data on-chain, is really a sign of the amount of digital asset adoption there is and the amount of contracts and on-chain contracts and systems that want that data. So it's a signal that you've reached a certain critical mass of contracts, that there's enough of a market to justify them putting that data on chain. That's a product that's generating revenue for the Chainlink system, and something that I think is going to be a continuing trend from an institutional point of view. And Datalink, I think, is very clearly made for that institutional data source user group. We were able to make AI more reliable by running multiple models at the same time on the same question. In this case, corporate actions data. We ran those AIs inside of an Oracle network, a Chainlink network, and that created a consensus. That created agreement on what the right result was across all the AI models. So now you don't get the benefit of just one AI model for a query, you get the benefit of 3 or 4 or 5 different AI models. So the ability for Oracle networks to make AI models more reliable is obviously a large benefit. In this case, it was applied to this long time and highly valuable problem, corporate actions. Those are key events around equities, funds, all these different things that people want to tokenize on chain. Without corporate actions being fundamentally solved and without them going on chain, you're not going to really have the levels of tokenization that you want to see in public equity, in funds, in other categories that rely on corporate actions. So I would say the combination of AI and Oracle networks is going to make more reliable data available on chain, more reliable proof about key events like corporate actions, and I think that'll be quite valuable. So the digital transfer agent technical standard is something that I think will initially be used widely for tokenized funds. I think there are other cases where you need transfer agents, such as equity, and there are other categories of assets where transfer agents are necessary. For funds specifically, the transfer agent has a lot of control around what's going to happen or not happen with the fund. So it's a relatively good place to start. And there's also a lot of demand and current activity to generate tokenized funds. I think transfer agency will eventually all be on chain because all the assets will be on chain. So I think whatever transfer agency does in the TradFi world, it'll do all of that in the on-chain world, in the DeFi world, in the blockchain world, because it'll all migrate into that world. I think we've really seen a new level of interest and commitment from financial institutions, financial market infrastructures to digital assets. Swift choosing to launch its own chain is a good example, something we'll be working on with them very closely to provide the various oracles, bridges, data, identity, and other key things that make a chain successful. I think they also mentioned they're going to continue their interoperability work, and it's basically with us, and that's something that I think is very positive. I've seen a huge amount of interest in stablecoins. I've seen a huge amount of interest in fund tokenization, and I feel like we're kind of at this place where you have the on-chain cash, you have the on-chain asset, and you're starting to see markets form in their early stages. Once those markets form, I think everyone will start to see the value of blockchain technology. That value will be very large because you have 24/7, 365 markets, 24/7, 365 collateral management, automated compliance. You'll just have huge benefits beyond the fact that you have a tokenized asset. So I'm thinking right now, from what I'm seeing, that while this year's Sibos has been a really big deal, it's really positioned everything that next year's Sibos is really going to be the big one for digital assets. That's my current feeling. And also the combination of AI and blockchains through our work with AI for corporate actions, I think was also very interesting. We got a very positive response from that. And I think we're going to continue to use AI inside of Oracle networks to verify corporate actions and many other forms of data that are going to be very valuable to the digital asset community. So it's been a great Sibos, and I think next year will be even bigger.